this video, we're going to be looking at the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 780. We're going to be looking at the vanilla GTX 780 3 gig. So on hand, I have an MSI Twin Frozr, and I also have the star of the show, this ASUS GTX 780 Poseidon. This is actually, so this is before Strix was even around. So you saw these like special edition cards from ASUS every so often. I think on the dual GPU cards, you'd occasionally see them do a Mars edition or something like that. So this is kind of one of those just one-off specialty cards that they did. I think they may have done a Poseidon 980 or 980 Ti. I can't, or no, that was the Strix. That was an early Strix model. So I think this was the only one they did. So it's called Poseidon for a reason. It's got both air cooling and the ability to hook up a custom loop to it. I did a little bit of research about this card, and the stuff I found suggested that it didn't quite perform as good as it would have if it was a traditional water block, but it was still pretty good. I saw the video from Linus from like 10 years ago, and he was raving about how cool it was and how complicated it was that they had managed to cram that all in there, both the functional, a very well functioning air cooler, and a decent functioning water block as well. So some of the more interesting things with this card, and it's actually, you can kind of see it with both of these. I really think that 7 Series is when you really started seeing a more modern aesthetic to the cards. Like this card, I don't know. I mean, if they put this on a store shelf today and it had a it had a label on it that said, I don't know, GeForce RTX 4070 on it or something like that, I could almost buy it. I mean, if I didn't already know that this was a 780 and I hadn't already seen the design, yeah, I think I could buy this as a modern card. I do. You know, throw a 12 volt 12 VHP, is that what they call that on here? Yeah. I'd buy this if somebody made a card that looked like this today. I'd buy it. I think it's a cool looking card. And it's got a nice metal backplate too, so that's kind of nice. I think this was before they really started using them as kind of a functional thing. Or no, does it have? Oh, you know what? Actually, ooh, it looks like they do actually have heat pads. So, yeah, it looks like it's actually functional. Yeah, it looks like they actually have heat pads on the back of the card, or on the back of the on the back of the card to transfer heat onto that backplate. That's actually pretty cool. I wouldn't have expected that they would do that. It's probably not much functional just because it's such a thin metal plate, but I mean, every bit helps, right? I got this actually off Facebook Market, I think, for $25. The guy sold it to me for $25. So the thumbnail, it's not clickbait. I mean, $25 is kind of garbage tier for a video card. That's basically the very last step. It's not worth absolutely nothing. There's like something to it, but that's below e-waste. Yeah, that's below e-waste. So let's take a look at it. And I'm going to try some games. I've already done some initial testing with this, and I will say some games won't even load. But I'm going to show on camera. I'm going to do quick. I'm going to try to do like super short, like 2 to 5 minute videos per game. And we're going to try to actually load some of the games. And some of the games that you see are just going to say cannot load. And I'm going to caveat this with I'm not doing anything special with these games. I'm not doing any funky hacks or workarounds. I'm really trying to demo what a normal person's experience with this card would be if they went and bought one of these and slapped it in their rig and didn't know any better. What experience would they have without having to do any sort of funky, nerdy, hinky stuff? So let's get to it. Okay, so the first one we're looking at here is Cyberpunk 2077. I've put us in the downtown area and on a vehicle because I find that the highest performance draw is typically when you're driving through on a vehicle and it's having to draw everything going by, and you're in the downtown area. So everything that isn't this is going to be even more playable. So this is like the hardest you're going to be on it. So playability is different for different people. To my eyeballs, this is smooth. I get that a lot of you have it in your head that you have to have 60 FPS. I can't help you there. In my mind, this looks smooth, and I find smooth to be different in different games. Some games look better at lower frame rates than others. It's just kind of the way it is. See, as you saw, I got off the bike and frame rate went up. So you'll also notice off to the left, I've made some changes to those who've watched my stuff in the past. I switched to white for the overlay. I think it is more visible in the conditions where it's easily visible. It probably doesn't look quite as good as the orange, but I find that the white is more visible in more conditions. And I've also made it much larger. Hopefully that'll help those of you that are viewing on your cell phones to see. I've realized that having that covering up the game is probably a better option because you're here to see performance. So we're going to take a look at the settings. And now it's hard to see the settings. Okay, so I've kind of changed my methodology on this. I'm not looking at it as minimum level that I'm willing to drop to. I'm looking at it as how low do we have to go to get this to a minimal playable level. So everything is off and low. I've gone as low as we can. We cannot go lower than this. In fact, I even went 1600 by 900 on the resolution, which I won't normally do. Oops, dang it, I did not want to do that. Darn it. That is not what I wanted to do. I don't even know what I hit. Something did that. Okay, so, let's go a little bit lower. Oh man, it looks so terrible already, but, okay, let's do straight up 720. I hate to do it. It looks like garbage, but, oh, you can't even see. That's funny. You can't even see, crap. You can't even see oh, can you see it? Oh, nope. It totally cuts off. Totally cuts off the frame rate counter. Let's do this. Let's try. Nah, let's leave it at 610 by 900. I say it's playable. If you disagree, you disagree. So yeah, so that's what we had to do to get it. It's largely resolution. But the interesting thing is that, okay, this is low, but so the 780 will not run AMD FSR. This is doing this without any upscaling with the FSR. If it did, so this is what happens when you run FSR. So you turn FSR on. Let's put it at the balanced option. Okay, so look at that. So here's the thing. See all of this? I'm pretty sure it's actually drawing. It's just there's some sort of glitch that's preventing it from actually showing up on screen. However, it would be playable. This would be the difference between playable and not. And this would bring it up to, like, say, like a GTX 9, like some of the lower 9 series cards. Because it's always been assumed that a 780 performs pretty similar to a 970. But it's just with the older technology, it's got some features missing, unfortunately, going from Kepler to Maxwell, so it is what it is. But, so that gives you an idea of... Oops, I gotta turn it off. So it's really unfortunate that it can't run that FSR. And it's worth mentioning, it is an FSR version issue, because I do have an older 1.6 version of Cyberpunk, and the FSR does work. But I'm not showing it here because that's not relevant to people that are actually playing. People that are actually playing are going to be playing version 2.0 and up. So I'm not gonna show that here. Okay, so I hope you guys find this interesting look at Cyberpunk. Let's get on to the next one. Okay, so next one we're looking at is Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, is it playable? I mean, kinda. I'm guessing because this is a console port, it looks reasonably smooth at extremely low frame rate. But the frame rate isn't really the yeah, I mean, this, if you're really liberal and all you care about is the story, like literally, you don't care about anything other than the story. If you just don't care about visuals at all, it's playable, and that's not bad. Look, if that's your game thing, if that's how you feel about games, like, you're so easy to please. I wish we were all like you. I really do. I couldn't do this. And this is as low as we can go. I mean, this is all the way down. So we take a look at the settings. The only thing I can drop further is the resolution. I'm not doing that because I want you to be able to see the frame rate and all the performance here. And clearly, this is all this GPU can do. I mean, we're bottlenecking the hell out of the GPU. So everything is turned all the way off. I cannot go lower than this. The only thing I can do is lower. I guess I can do this without. This is going to look awful. You're going to love this. Oh, yeah, look at that. I mean, it's technically playable, but it does become a whole different game. And you're getting all kinds of graphical glitches and artifacting and stuff, so I'm going to say this isn't playable. It really not. I mean, you can see those flashes on the screen. I'm pretty sure it's related to the 780 just not supporting a lot of the tech that this game uses. I'm actually surprised it loaded under these circumstances. I'm kind of surprised it even loaded. But, okay, next game. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys some of the downsides now. So, looking at some more recent games, so let's try to run, let's see, Jedi Survivor. Where's Jedi Survivor? I never expected a good result with this game, but this is what happens with some of these games. So we try to run Jedi Survivor. See what it does. So, typically what it does is it'll just sit here and it'll say running for a second. And you'll get something like this. And this is the newest driver for the 780. This is the last driver NVIDIA released. So then it tries to run it, but it won't run with the driver. Let's see what it does here. I think it usually just sits here and says running. Yeah, that's all it does. It just sits there and says running, and eventually, oh yeah, nope, wouldn't even run. Okay, so next newer one, try it again. Starfield. Pretty sure I had the same thing with this one. I think it was a driver version error as well on this one. Let's see here. Oh yeah, okay. Graphics card does not support the minimum specifications. And on some of this stuff, if you really know what you're doing, you may be able to like go in and like put in some sort of command line or something that'll force it to run, but that's not what we're doing here. I'm like I said before, I'm really trying to show what a normal gamer that just doesn't have all that advanced ability is going to see when they try to slap this into their normal system. Let me see. Do we have anything else new? Yeah, let's try Hogwarts. I think I had the same thing with Hogwarts. Let's see here. What do we get with Hogwarts? You gonna run? I'm pretty sure I had either a driver version error and it wouldn't run, or it straight up did nothing. Yeah, okay, so we get the driver version error. Let's see if it runs. Oh, you know what? Okay, let's see here. Man, I'm pretty sure that this one didn't run. Or it... Oh, yep, okay. There we go. So it did that. So we have various different flavors of failing to run. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find another modern one. It's kind of funny that Cyberpunk will actually run. Nah, that's 3 current relevant games, and they won't even run. So that's the downside here. So let's get back to some that actually will run and see how they go. Okay, so Fortnite is one of the better results I've had, which I'm not really surprised, just because it's a game that's intended for everyone to be able to play, right? Oh, they got rid of those. Well, that's not good. So you're definitely going to want to run whatchamajigger. You're definitely going to want to run performance mode on this. That's going to give you your best frame rate. And oh look, they went back to the old style of those. Yeah, you're going to want to run performance mode. And this is actually the first game that I have played, or the first situation I've played, where I would definitely recommend that you're going to want to maybe put frame rate limiter in, because I'm finding that even though you see this like 200 plus FPS, it also occasionally drops down quite a bit lower. So putting in... I think I found, when the first time I messed with it, I think I was finding like a 120 FPS frame rate limiter was probably ideal, because that seemed to be about where it was hitting as far as a reliable frame rate. But it performs pretty decent. I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely good enough that you're going to be able to play competitively, which I think is the primary purpose of Fortnite. I'm probably going to get killed here so fast. I've got the volume turned off to make this video, so somebody's going to start shooting at me, and I'm not going to be able to hear where they're shooting from. But this is generally smooth. I mean, it's not bad. This is actually a lot better than I was expecting, to tell you the truth. I was kind of expecting somewhere in the neighborhood of like maybe 120 FPS max. Let's see here. Let's see if I can kill this guy. Yeah, I was expecting like 120 FPS max with like serious drop downs on the frame rate, and I'm not really getting the stutters I was expecting either. Like, this is really not bad. It's actually the first time I've played the newer season as well. Looks like the new white text on the performance statistics is working out pretty well here too. Hey, what's this thingy? I figured it would do something like that. But yeah, no, I'm not trying to show a normal amount of gameplay here, so I'll kill it here. This gives you guys kind of a... Oh yeah, there it goes. Okay, so got a little bit of stutter there. But this gives you guys a solid idea of of what you're going to see on this. And this is, I mean, honestly, this is what you would use this card for most likely. This is the kind of card that you're going to find in like, if you go on Craigslist or OfferUp or like Facebook Market, this is the kind of card that you're going to see really commonly in builds that are advertised as like budget esports builds, and it's not bad. I mean, you just saw that guy looked like he was a real character based on, or a real player based on the username, and it's not bad. I'm actually pleasantly surprised here. So this is the last one. I did the AAAs, and I did this as kind of a as my esports representative. So hope you guys find this interesting, and let's get to the conclusion on the video. So my final assessment on this one, I mean, you saw, it's a pretty mixed bag. I definitely would not recommend buying one of these, like actually going out and buying one of them. It's definitely a really interesting showpiece. I would recommend leaving it to people such as myself who just mess around with this stuff. Now, that being said, clearly esports were a viable option with this. Fortnite was actually probably the better performing of all of the stuff. You could definitely use it for esports. So this would be a really good option if you find, say, like, I don't know, like an i7 6700K paired with this card for a couple $100, maybe less in some cases, and you just want to pick something up for your kid to tinker with and do some esports stuff with, and maybe play some older games with. This would be a really great option for stuff like that. And, I mean, as you see, this is a unique card. Most 780s aren't this cool. Most of them are more generic designs. Even this MSI one doesn't really have, I mean, like the color scheme is the same, but there's definitely a better aesthetic to the ASUS card. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope this gives you kind of a good idea of where the 780 sits today. Oh, and I will mention, I didn't test any older games. And the reason I didn't, I'm going to probably do that, but that was not the purpose of this video. I'm going to say it's a safe assumption that anything 2018 or older, it's going to run great. It's going to run great. I'm going to guess that the 780 probably really started to hit a cliff when games started to be made for cards like the RTX 2080, for example. Once that kind of stuff threw into the mix, I'm guessing that's really when this really just hit the cliff. But yeah, anything 2018 and older, we're talking Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, old Crisis 3, Call of Duties, Assassin's Creed, Origins will probably run pretty good on this, maybe even Odyssey, stuff like that, stuff that's, that generation of games and older. There was not really a reason to take a look at that stuff because it was kind of a foregone conclusion to me, and this wasn't a retrospective, how did it do then? I'm going to do that video, but that's not this video. Anyway, thanks guys for watching, and I hope this was at least a little bit informative for you.